Hi everybody, and now here's part 11 of the Cooper's family. Here we go. Before she could become the other woman, and she would hate that a lot, David visited the mental illness drop-in centre to give them their annual flu shots, just in time for winter again. And this year there was this mother of 3 who suffers from deep depression and occasionally has very severe panic attacks, who collapsed on the floor right in front of David and rang the Cooper's family clinic to see if his dad could send someone out there to make sure this woman is okay. Before Ron got there, David tried to comfort the woman, but she was too stressed out to help herself get better, because in about half an hour she had to pick up the kids from school. So without thinking about the protocol of the job, he rang his sister Sue up with the information on where to pick up the kids, but she had to come into the drop-in centre first to make sure the lady trusted her. Sue was happy to do that, so she went straight to the drop-in centre, and the lady rang the school to make sure her kids were picked up by Sue. And no one else, because this woman didn't train her kids that there are some other trustworthy people around who are adults that we haven't met yet. Sue went to the school and picked up the kids and brought them straight to the hospital. And when she got there, John had woken up from his coma and asked Sally, "Where is Sue?" and he wants to see her. Sally told him the truth, why Sue didn't wait at his bedside, because an estranged lady, who Sue thought was his wife, was there, and she had to take a week off to get her head around it. John said to Sally, "No, that was my sister probably, because she wants to be the first of us siblings to get married. And if that doesn't happen, she tries to make sure that I never get happy." When Sue arrived with the kids, the lady thanked her and asked her if they could go to a children's play centre, because she doesn't want them to see her mother like this. When she brought the kids to the play centre, she had to stop the play with them for a while because there was no one there to look after them. And while she was doing that, John walked in and explained who the estranged woman was. And first Sue didn't believe him, but then it started to make a lot of sense, because she wasn't really holding him like a wife would, but Sue was having a good day, and she didn't want anyone to put a dampener on that. John said that he really wants kids one day, and he would be happy to be a doctor to make his dad happy, as well, because he's in the 2nd year of training to become a GP. And it would be nice to get my foot in the door here. Sue told him that he is too attractive not to have had a fling with or get a girl pregnant in his life, but he said that she was the only girl he wants to be with. But he said that he had a daughter in Samoa that was about 8 years old, and the woman is an absolute nut. But she always has control of a child, and I don't get a say. So one day I want to say when you are ready. And that made Sue feel weird, and she had to tell that she wants to get on with his sister first. And John said, "How about we have dinner on Friday coming?" John agreed to dinner, and Sue went into the lunchroom and made a very strong coffee, because she needs to have a high dose of caffeine in her. Ron was busy dealing with her parents of an autistic 12-year-old boy who drives his parents nuts, trying to do what he wants all the time. And the parents let him get away with it because They are scared of becoming horrible parents. And Ron told them that kids who have a disability, quite like your sons, are quite reluctant to do what makes them happy. And it is very common to just let them do what he wants to do and ignore things that you want them to do. The parents wanted to have a mixture, and they said they will try and any drug that could enhance his interest in other people's activities. Ron said, the only thing I could prescribe, while the parents are ready to accept a script Ron actually meant to give, that he will prescribe, showing him a bit of love, which means do by all means things that make him happy, but reward him at his tender age, that if he does one activity a week that you or any other member likes, to do as well, to get him to function in the real world. When he grows up, he also added that if you expect that he has to do what other people want to do, and he could end up with no friends, and I don't think he will want that, now do we? Ron said goodbye to the family, wishing them the best, and then he accidentally walked in on John and Sue sharing a private moment of lust. A bit of sex probably too. Ron was shocked because Sue in this job is supposed to act responsible and just do her job while she was on duty. And then Sue dropped a bombshell and told her father that John is a second-year trainee as a GP, and besides all that, she said she is actually falling in love with him. And Ron told Sue all he wants to see her in the reception area. When they got to the reception area, Ron began lecturing Sue about the role she has at this hospital, which Sue is under supervision of Ron, and she doesn't get a say in the running of the business, because he said that we hardly know the man, and that is not what I want on my conscience, and that we employ a man without any written references or anything to prove what he says is correct. And you are obviously thinking of your future happiness with a perfect family. Sue told Ron that maybe she did go about it the wrong way, but he doesn't look like that it is a fake. And you would like this hospital business to go. No, even after you die, and that is what I want to do. So employing John could mean the future of this place. Ron shook his head and told Sue that he needs some time to get his head around the whole matter, because he didn't quite know what to say about if the kids thought of expanding the business after his death. Just as Ron was leaving the hospital, one of his patients who has a mental illness was being dragged into the psych ward, kicking and screaming, saying, "Oh no, leave me alone, having a lot of problems," because he was causing a public disturbance at the local church. You see, he vanished. The statue of Jesus that has been finished, as he was doing it, he was saying things like, "I am Jesus and I don't approve of this statue being at the church," because I back in those days was a very private person, and these Christian cunts say that I am part of the church activities. Ron followed them, and when they arrived at the psych ward, Ron went over to him and asked him what seems to be the problem. And he told him what he did and the reason why he did it. And Ron said, if you are Jesus, and whether or not he would really approve, no, don't you realize that there is no excuse for vandalism? He said back in the days the so-called Bible was talking about, it just said Jesus was a man with his own fair share of problems. And I personally think that I was put on this earth to show the church what really happened to Jesus on Good Friday. Ron said to him that you have a conscience about this. If you want to be treated like a normal person and not the mentally ill man who said that this is all a fake and Jesus is all, the church is lying about Jesus, why should I have a conscience? Because everybody, every bloody Christian in this entire world said Jesus died on the cross, and then 2 days later he rose again. Ron sat there nodding his head, and the man said, well, I am trying to show the church what really is going on since he died. He said he was reincarnated as different beings on earth, right to the present day, in which he is me. Ron was thinking that he is in a bad way and went over to the nurses to increase his meds to see if he finds his conscience of what he did. It gave him an idea to open a hospital near the clinic and see if John wants to be part of that. It could be sort of a reincarnation hospital. But anyway, that would be pretty cool. I was just thinking, I'd also believe that Jesus reincarnates. I believe everybody reincarnates. But you can't sort of, show too much on that. You've got to let people have their own beliefs. But I believe everybody reincarnates whether they like it or not, as you know.